I'm Kevin Coleman with the Scioto Post, and I just attended a meeting on the EMS.
EMS Planning Committee.
Yes, and Jamie Barker, you are
Township Trustee in Jefferson Township and the Vice President of the County Township Association in Ross County.
So what happened this morning?
So today we got the final report. To walk it back a little bit, we hired a consulting firm with the county's help and some of the townships to kind of analyze our EMS system of delivery in Ross County. Everything from dispatch down to how we provide the services. And today we received their final report with their recommendations for how we can make some improvements in Ross County. That being said, I do want to point out that the problems we're experiencing throughout Ross County are part of a national trend. So there's nothing necessarily that's been done wrong in Ross County. There's a national trend of declining EMS volunteers, and that's resulting in longer run times, longer response times, and we're trying to find a way to better provide that service to everyone in Ross County.
And the consultants gave, I think, 7 different suggestions, recommendations?
They did, yes. At our request, they provided several different recommendations and several different options. Option number 1, I believe, was to do absolutely nothing and maintain the status quo. Obviously, that's not recommended. And then option number 7 was to go with a full collaboration of a county-wide EMS system. Recommendations 2 through 6 were somewhere in between. Everything from looking at regional cooperation, how maybe some townships could combine resources. One option was the county could have a backup squad that could respond if a agency can't make a call. But that was basically what we received from them. That being said, the report was, I believe, 281 pages. So none of us have had a chance to fully kind of digest the report yet.
It sounded like there was a lot of data that wasn't turned in.
Yeah, so when the consulting firm began to collect data, obviously everyone has to adhere to Ohio's public records laws when it comes to requesting that information. But what we ran into was most townships, most fire departments in our county are a combined fire and EMS department. So when we give financial data, that data isn't necessarily separated into what goes to fire and what goes to EMS. So some of the data points were a little hard for them to interpret. Some of the data they requested simply doesn't exist within some of our townships. So in adherence to our public record laws, the townships had to provide the data that they had that was requested, but they also were not required to create new data that didn't previously exist.
And it sounds like there's widely varying practices among the townships, and some cooperated with the study, some absolutely did not. There's mutual aid to some and not to others. It's a whole patchwork.
It is, yeah. Right now, currently our EMS system is working in some areas, it's not working in others. Ross County has 16 townships, a handful of villages, plus the city of Chillicothe, and everyone kind of delivers this system differently. But at that same time, every area is unique in terms of the run volume and what is required to make those runs. We have larger townships like Scioto and Union and Greene and Huntington who have multiple calls per day, and then we have smaller townships who may have one run every 3 or 4 days on average. So the way that we deliver those systems in one township may not work in another township. So right now there is a kind of a patchwork. And that is part of our discussion moving forward, is how we can streamline some of those processes to where everyone's getting the same level of service throughout the county.
So you've got a meeting in a week, and that will be to create a...
Correct, and one of the major recommendations was to kind of immediately create an implementation task force where we can branch out and have different committees assigned to explore different options that were presented to us. So the next meeting is with this current EMS Planning Committee. From there, we will proceed to set up an implementation task force that will be given a period of time and a specific job to do. And then once that job is completed and that time is out, that task force will be dissolved. So it's not going to be a permanent entity.
So any guesses for a timeline when whatever plan is implemented?
It's hard to say right now. I know the current committee has a plan to kind of move forward. That's why we're coming back in a week to meet again on this. You know, we don't want to take this report and sit on it for months before we take any action. So I think the plan is to kind of get the ball rolling, and you know, eventually we want to bring everybody to the table. You know, the larger townships, the city, the smaller townships, and we want this to be a very collaborative effort moving forward. You know, we're not trying to, nobody wants to step on anybody's toes, nobody wants to take anything away from what anybody else is already doing. We're just looking for ways that we can make the whole process more efficient and better serve every resident in the county.
All right. Jamie
Barker.
From Jefferson Township?
Yes.
All right. And you're chairing this committee?
I'm on the committee, yes, representing the townships.
But you're the spokesman?
Yes,
right.
they chose me to be the media relations spokesperson.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.